Saturday, April 28th, and time to drop in at the Sportsman's Club for another of the favorite sports stories of Grantland Rice. Yes, it's yarn spinning time down at the Sportsman's Club. That's where the sport fans gather every week at this time as guests of the Dean of American Sports Writers, Grantland Rice. Grant Rice has been covering all the big sporting events for the past 30 years, and he can usually be depended upon to settle the arguments that flourish at the Sportsman's Club. But Grant Rice not only knows his fans and his sports, he's kept a weather eye out for good sporting yarns through the years. And he shares them with his friends in these Saturday get-togethers. So now, come along. Let's drop in at the Sportsman's Club and meet Grantland Rice.
Let me have a couple of cigars, George.
Yes, sir, Mr. Harrison.
Mr. Rice come in yet, George?
Yes, sir, Mr. Jordan. He's in the lounge.
Hey, let's get down there, Bill. Something I want to ask Grant.
Hey, how do you like the way those White Sox have been going, huh?
Doesn't mean a thing. Wait till the Browns get started. They're still the best club in the league.
Hey, there's Grant. Well, what did you think, Grant?
Yeah, kind of a surprise, huh, Grant?
Oh, hello, fellas. I guess you're talking about baseball's new commissioner.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, yes, Senator Happy Chandler was a dark horse, but I think all the fans will agree that he should fill the bill. Happy Chandler's a fan himself. He loves the game, and everybody is for him. He'll do a good job. We can be sure of that if he runs the job and doesn't let the job run him.
That's the way I feel about it. Say, Grant, my kid's been pestering me about that yarn you promised us for today. You know, the one about the kid down south who finds that, what do you call it?
Oh, you mean the Bazenji?
Yeah.
The African dog that has a kind of a laugh instead of a bark.
Yeah, that's the one.
Well, that was James Street's story, Weep No More, My Lady. I brought you that one a few weeks ago, and, as you remember, the boy loses the dog. Our listeners didn't quite like the ending. They felt the boy ought to get the dog back.
Kids felt the same way.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, so today I'm bringing you the sequel to that story, James Street's Saturday Evening Post story, entitled, Please Come Home, My Lady. So pull up your chairs, fellas, and we'll let old Jesse Tolliver bring us up to date on his nephew, Skeeter, and Skeeter's dog, My Lady.
I just hope the kid gets the dog back.
Well, he just got to get the dog back. Hey, hold that thing.
Well, sir, I'll tell you how it come about. It was the darndest thing ever you seen. Oh, excuse me, I'm Jesse Tolliver. Proud to know you. Well, sir, I've been called the laziest man in Mississippi, but that ain't quite the truth. I've heard folks say I'm too lazy to open an umbrella when it's raining, but ain't that at all. I just don't naturally believe the man was made to toil and sweat. I will say I can outwhittle any man in this part of the country, and with what I can make, cutting stove wood and trapping, training bird dogs and coon hounds, plenty for me and Skeeter. Skeeter is my nephew, and I promised my sister when she died I'd look after him, which I have, and I've taught him everything I knowed, which is considerable, if I do say so. I certainly got a cabin there in the swamp. It was long about a year ago now. Skeeter found this thing they called a Bazanji. Seems it got away from one of them station carriages, they call them, belonging to some rich Yankee. And this Bazanji, as I found out, is a kind of Egyptian dog. Can't bark at all. It makes kind of a laughing sound when it's happy. Skeeter found the critter and pied John Brown. He didn't train her into a bird dog. Then the trainer of the dog shows up. Skeeter gives the dog back, although it just about bust his heart. Boy, never did get over it.
Hello, Uncle Jess.
Oh, Skeeter, I just about ready to go into the cab and fix a pot of greens and cornbread. It won't be bad, huh, Skeet?
Well, I ain't hungry right now, Uncle Jess.
Sure you are. Been out tramping all afternoon, haven't you? Sure you're hungry.
No, I ain't.
Skeeter, you got something on your mind. You've been moping around a lot here late.
Well, I'm all right.
No, you ain't. You got something troubling you. What is it, son? Tell me. You and me are friends, ain't we?
Well, sure, Uncle Jess. Oh, it ain't nothing. Just off my feet, I guess.
Skeeter.
Yes, sir?
It's that dog. It's My Lady. You ain't got over losing her, now have you?
Well, sure I have. She wasn't my dog. She belonged to somebody else. Ain't no use of me fretting about her. She's gone for good.
You miss her, don't you, son?
No, I don't. Can't miss what ain't yours, and she wasn't mine. She didn't belong to me. If I didn't turn her back, it would have been the same as stealing. Wouldn't it?
You made up your mind to that, Skeet. She was your dog. Why, son, you made a bird dog out of that critter. I've been training bird dogs all my life, and I said it couldn't be done, but you showed me you did it, son. Yes. Wherever she is, son, she's still your dog.
It don't do me much good or her either.
You'd like her back, Skeet.
Well, no, I wouldn't. Only thing to do is forget her. That's all. There's lots of dogs. Don't see much sense in making a fuss over just one dog.
No.
Oh, Uncle Jess, there's no use trying to fool you. Uncle Jess, I miss my lady so much it's just gnawing at my innards.
I know, son. By John Brown, I'm going to do something about it.
Ain't nothing you can do, Uncle Jess. My lady is way up in Michigan with those rich Yankees. You couldn't get her back now.
I'll figure out something. You see if I don't. I got to think. Now, you keep an eye on those greens and that corn inside, Skeeter. I'm going off to think a spell. Maybe walk down to Cash Watson's store. You like some peppermint jawbreakers, Skeeter?
No, thanks, Uncle Jess. I just ain't in that frame of mind.
I couldn't stand to see the boy unhappy. I know what it is to lose a dog. But it ain't nothing for a man to lose a dog like what it is for a boy. And I never seen a boy and a dog that understood each other so well as my nephew, Skeeter, and this strange critter they call Bazanji. Now, to be honest with you, I wouldn't have given $2 for the dog myself. But Skeeter, he made a real bird dog out of her. Better than Cash Watson's big boy that I'd trained myself. In fact, the matter is, I owe these Roebuckers these store teeth I got. If you notice, there's a couple of gold ones in front for show. Well, I got them Roebuckers thanks to Skeeter. He bet Cash Watson that my lady could beat Big Boy in a field trial, and she did. Sure is nice to have Roebuckers in your mouth, being able to eat roast ears again and gnaw the marrow out of ham bone. Makes mighty pleasant eating.
Well, Jess Tolliver. Hello there.
Okay.
I haven't seen you for a spell, Jess. What's the news up your way?
Things about the same, generally, Cash, but I'm worried.
What's bothering you, Jess?
Well, sir, Cash, if you want to know, it's Skeeter.
Skeeter? The boy ain't sick, is he?
No. Well, yes, in a way he's sick, Cash. He's sick at heart for that dog he is.
You mean my lady?
That's her, that little old Bazanji. Cash, I wish that dog had stayed in Africa or wherever it was she come from.
Yes, it would have been better. Never forget the look on that boy's face when he give up that dog to them Yankees.
I won't either. Cash, I have got to get that dog back if it's the last thing I do.
It'd be a mighty nice thing to do, Jess. But I don't see how you're going to do it. That dog's up there with them Yankees, and you're down here in Mississippi. I don't think they'd give her back if you wrote a letter about it. You'd have to go up there, Jess.
I suppose so.
Sure. The only chance you'd have is to let them see what that boy and dog mean to each other. Then, if they were the right kind of folks, they might. But they're Yankees.
Yeah. But even Yankees might see the point. Anyway, I wouldn't expect them to give Skeet the dog. I'd buy her or swap him out of her.
You couldn't buy her, Jess.
I'd go as high as $10 or $12.
They paid a sight more than that.
Of course they did, but I've got a feeling that this old Bazanji won't be much good to him without Skeet.
You may be right, Jess, but I don't know.
Cash, how much would it take us to get to this Michigan, me and Skeeter?
Michigan? Well, that's a long way off, Jess. Let me look in my bus schedule here.
Now look up for Detroit, the place just outside of there.
Detroit?
Now figure out what it'd take to go up there and back again, Cash. The whole thing around some.
Detroit. Let me see. Detroit. Now, figure the fare and a little over for your expenses.
Won't need much more.
Put down Norton, carry 1, 7 and 8, 15, 1, 5. Why, Jesse, you'd need all of $150 to get up there to Michigan and back. You and Skeeter.
Huh? $150? Well, I never saw 150 in one pile.
That's a lot of money, Jess.
Yes. Of course, me and Skeeter have close to $86. That's counting the reward money he got for the dog.
Yes, but where would you get the rest?
I don't know. But to tell you, Cash, I can't stand to see the look on that boy's face, the way he feels about that dog. I've got to get that money somehow.
If you pardon my saying so, Jess, I don't see how you're going to do it.
Well, Cash, the truth is I'm prepared to do something desperate.
Jess, what do you mean?
Yes, sir. Cash, I'm going to work.
Well, I'll be...
It's for Skeeter, Cash. I would never do it except for him. It was again all my principles. I never would have stooped to it if it wasn't for Skeeter. As I've said, I don't believe a man was made to toil and sweat. Anyway, next day I got up early and I left a note for Skeet and went on into the village where there was some road work being done for the state. Fred! Oh, Fred!
Hi. Jesse Tolliver. What are you doing down here this time of day?
Hello, Fred. I come to see you.
Step over here, will you?
Yeah.
What do you want with me, Jess?
Well, Fred, I come to see you about a job.
About... Hey, Jess, you feeling all right?
I'm all right.
You want to go to work?
That's right. For a spell, anyway. Have you got any sitting-down jobs, Fred?
Just give me a minute to collect my thoughts. You want to go to work?
I've heard timekeeping is nice work, Fred. Could I be a timekeeper?
Yeah, we got a timekeeper.
Well, maybe water boy. I could be water boy if you'd see your way clear.
Yeah, we got a water boy.
So, I've seen those fellas who hold up a stop sign down where you're working near the highway. I figure I could do that real well.
Nah, Jesse, them jobs are all filled. But if you're serious about wanting to work, I'll give you a shovel job.
Shovel job? Digging?
That's the best I can do. Pays $4.80 a day.
Well,
take it or leave it, Jesse.
Well, I didn't aim to go that far. But you sure you're satisfied with this timekeeper you've got?
Best we ever had. It's a shovel job or nothing, Jess.
Never thought I'd come to it. All right, Fred, I'm a desperate man. Where do I get the shovel?
Ask for Henry down the line there. Tell him I sent you.
Thank you, Fred. Didn't aim to go quite this far. Oh, my.
Is that where it hurts, Uncle Jess?
Oh, yes, Skeeter. Put a little more of that oil right there.
Uh-huh. Here. Does it hurt real bad, Uncle Jess?
Never had a pain like it. It just goes to show you what comes of working. I never had a pain or ache all my life. One day of work and I'm all bent over.
Well, gee, maybe you did the wrong thing, Uncle Jess.
Oh, dear.
Don't go back tomorrow.
Oh, well, it'll be all right, Skeeter. I'll get used to it. Got to get enough money to go up north and get that dog back for you.
I'd sure like to get my lady back, Uncle Jess.
Oh, dear.
But I don't like to see you going against your principles this way. Working, I mean.
It won't be permanent, Skeet. Ooh. Oh. I'll quit the very minute we get that $150. Oh, land. Rub a little more left, Skeet.
Gee, you're the best Uncle any kid ever had, Uncle Jess. Gee, I sure am rightly proud of you.
Tain't nothing, Skeet. Dear. Oh, land. I won't say I got used to it, but I will say that after a few days, my back didn't hurt no more. Now, mind you, I don't say I hold with work of that kind. Not while there's bird dogs and coonhounds trained, all the fish and game you want, just outside the door. Anyway, I figured out right down the minute I made it that we'd have the 150 by 3:30 of a Friday afternoon. So I just up and I quit, and I got my money, and I got along home to tell Skeeter.
Hi, Uncle Jess. Well, gee, you home early.
Home for good, Skeet. We got the money. We can pack up and leave tomorrow.
For Michigan?
Yes, sir, Michigan and my lady.
Oh, I can't hardly believe it, Uncle Jess.
It's true, Skeet. We're going up and get that dog.
Maybe they won't give her up, Uncle Jess.
Then I'll swap her out of her.
Maybe they want more than you got to swap.
I'll buy her on the time plan. You know, like we bought the radio.
Yeah. Only they came and took the radio away.
Well, don't you worry, Skeet. We'll figure out some way to get that dog once we're there.
I sure hope so. Sure hope we don't make the trip all the way to Michigan for nothing.
Don't you worry your head, Skeet.
No, but I just been thinking. We gotta eat on the way up there.
Eat? Oh, I done figured all that out, too, Skeet. We'll take along a slew of hard-boiled eggs. Just beats all what you can do with hard-boiled eggs. Go anywhere on them. Now, we got a lot to do, son. I got to cut your hair, for one thing. I want to get away first thing in the morning. Seemed like we rode forever on that bus. I had to pay full fare for Skeeter. The bus driver wouldn't hear him going for half fare, but I figured it was worth trying anyway.
Uncle Jess.
Yes, Skeet.
Where are we now?
I don't know exactly, Skeet. North of the Smith and Wesson line, I reckon. Folks begin to speak sharp like Yankees. Must be pretty nearly there.
You reckon we got enough hard-boiled eggs to last us?
Sure we have. Now, you lay back now and get some sleep. I'll give you a couple of eggs when you wake up.
Oh, all right, Uncle Jess.
Well, finally got there, all tuckered out, but Skeeter was so anxious to get out and see my lady, we didn't stop to get cleaned up. I guess we weren't much to look at when we went up the front door. Big, white house.
Hello.
How'd do, mister?
Yes?
We come to swap you for that dog, that Bazanzi, my lady. What did it take for?
Well, her real name's Miss Congo III. I found her in the swamp and called her my lady. I taught her to hunt birds, too.
She ain't worth much, but what'd you say to $10? And cut your cord to stove wood?
I'm sure there must be some mistake. Are you looking for work?
Oh, good Lord, no.
You want to see Mr. Hargrove?
We want to see whoever's in charge here. Fella who owns the Bazanzi.
Oh, in that case, I suggest you go round to the back door.
Back door? Now, look here, mister. Tollivers don't go to back doors. You go back and tell the boss of this place Jesse Tolliver's out here to see him.
Very well. Please wait here.
Back door.
Oh, gee, he sure was uppity.
Oh, he's a Yankee, Skeet. They're all uppity.
Gosh, maybe they'll have us run off the place without even seeing my lady.
Nobody's running us off, Skeet. I'll handle these Yankees. You wait and see.
You wanted to see me, gentlemen? I'm George Hargrove.
Oh, well, I'm proud to know you, mister. I'm Jesse Tolliver. This here's Jonathan. Only we call him Skeeter.
Well, how do you do, Skeeter?
Hello.
We're just passing by, and I dropped in to trade you out and my lady.
My lady?
You call her Miss Congo III, mister. I named her my lady.
I'm afraid I don't understand. Oh, wait a minute. Skeeter, could you be the boy that found my dog down in Mississippi?
Well, yes, sir.
That's Skeeter.
You don't tell me you've come all the way from Mississippi.
We did, on the bus.
Well, you must be exhausted.
I'm kind of whooped. But I'd sure like to see my lady.
Oh, come in. We're just going to have breakfast. You can see the dog later.
Thanks.
I want you to meet my wife. Dear, we have company.
Who is it, George? Oh.
Dear, this is Mr. Tolliver. And this is Skeeter.
Proud to know you, ma'am.
Howdy, ma'am.
Why, how do you do? George, dear.
Don't you remember, my dear? Skeeter's that boy who found Miss Congo down in Mississippi.
Oh.
They've come to visit her.
I'd sure like to see her right now.
Well, Skeeter, I'm afraid that's impossible right now. The boys have her out in the woods, exercising her.
Oh.
But, of course, you can see her later. Why don't you wash up and have breakfast with us?
Hmm?
And we'll all go out and see the dog.
Well, yes, ma'am.
All right, ma'am.
I can't get over it, Mr. Tolliver, coming all this distance just to see that dog of mine.
Well, I didn't come just to see her, Mr. Hargrove. I aimed to buy the dog for the boy.
To buy her?
Buy? Well, I'm afraid that's not possible, Mr. Tolliver. You see, we bought that dog from Africa to establish her line in this country. She's very valuable.
How about $12? Cash on the barrelhead.
$12.
Suppose, Mr. Tolliver, we talk this over later, after breakfast. Then Skeeter can take a nap, and I'll wake him when Miss Congo's brought back.
That's a fine idea.
I ain't seen the dog quite a spell. Maybe she ain't no good now. But I tell you what, I'll give you $15 sight unseen.
I'm afraid you don't know much about the breed.
I know dog.
Ah, but these are very rare dogs. Yeah, wait a minute. I have a... Yes. Yes, here's a pamphlet about the breed. Now, suppose you read it over, Mr. Tolliver. It'll give you a good idea of just what kind of dogs they are.
That's a good idea, George. And now, Mr. Tolliver and Skeeter, perhaps you'd like to freshen up a bit, and then we'll all have breakfast.
Oh, all right, ma'am.
Thank you kindly, ma'am.
Come along, Skeeter.
How would you like your eggs, Mr. Tolliver?
Hard-boiled, ma'am. Come on, Skeeter.
Well...
Well, this beats anything I've ever seen.
Oh, bless his little heart.
What was the idea of telling Congo was being exercised? You know she's in the kennel.
You're never very quick in the morning, dear. I wanted to talk to you. Don't you see that Skeeter is the answer to our problem? You know Congo hasn't been worth her salt since she left that boy.
Yes, that's the breed. She's a one-man dog. Oh, and that boy Skeeter is her master. Must have saved all winter to get the money to come up here. I'm almost in favor of wiping the whole thing off as a loss and just give the dog to the boy.
Oh, don't be silly, George. We've got a lot of money tied up in Miss Congo, and her pops will be worth a fortune.
Yes, but she belongs with that boy, Skeeter.
I'm coming to that. That boy will do anything to stay around the dog. There's plenty of work here for him and for the old man, too. Why not hire them?
Say, maybe you've hit on something there. Congo will improve in spirit with the boy around, and then we can breed her.
Of course. We'll see how they feel about it when they come downstairs.
Sure. The old man's probably up there figuring out another deal.
I tell you to stop worrying, Skeeter. Just leave everything to me. I ain't worrying.
He ain't got no dog either. You and your swapping.
I ain't warmed up yet, Skeeter. Make a swap. You got to have something the other fellow wants. And he's got to have something you want. But you got to make him want what you got more than he thinks you want what he's got, see?
Well, no, I don't. Besides, what have we got?
I don't know. Must have something. Got 4 towels in here. Folks don't waste 4 towels on just everybody. Leastwise, Yankees don't.
Well, they seem like rightly nice folks to me.
Oh, Yankees are all right in their place. I reckon they got a good streak way down deep in them, but generally you have to dynamite before you find it. Skeet, when you get to breakfast, you mind your manners. You be pop-eyed sure to say, "Thank you for them eggs, ma'am, and please pass the molasses," and all that.
Oh, I will, Uncle Jess. I guess I better wear my long breeches, huh?
Yeah, you do that. I'll look over this little book here about them Bazanges. The Bazanges, one of the most remarkable breeds in the world. Fearless and smell game up to 80 yards. I know that. Although called barkless, the Bazange is not mute. In trying to bark, they make an odd laughing sound. One-man dog will never take orders from any person but his master. If he suffers a hurt, real or fancied, he gets morose.
Well, I'm all ready, Uncle Jess. Have you figured out another swap?
I've been getting a few licks of thinking, Skeet, and it so happens I just thought something else. Yes, sir, I believe it'll work. I'll spring it when we go out the kennel. Doggone, I have to get up early to beat him in Mississippi, man. No wonder it took them Yankees 4 years to lick us. Come on, Skeet.
Well, Chiminetti, Mr. Hargrove, how many dogs have you got?
Well, about 200 altogether, Skeeter.
Yeah, it's right nice place.
Oh, it's wonderful, Mr. Tolliver. You'd love it here.
I expect to be all right. What you fancy?
The Zangies are over here. Just follow me.
Miss Congo hasn't been quite herself lately.
M'lady? Well, she ain't been sick, has she?
No, she's not sick, Skeeter. She's all right. Here we are. Come on in.
Yeah, mighty nice. Mighty nice.
I see her. I see m'lady. There she is.
That's right.
Appears to be sleeping.
Here, m'lady. Here, girl. Here, m'lady.
Yeah, here she sees you, Skeet.
Come on, m'lady. Come on, girl.
Just look at her come.
Hello, m'lady. Nice little old dog. Nice little girl.
Sure.
Gee, I sure am glad to see you, m'lady. Nice fella.
Look at that.
See, she's happy. She's laughing. You see, Mr. Hargrove?
I certainly do.
Yeah, m'lady, you're all right now. Good dog. See, Mrs. Hargrove, you see?
I see, Skeeter.
Now she's walking away.
Well, m'lady. Come back, fella. Come back, m'lady. Here, m'lady. Well, she's walking into her house.
Mm-hmm.
What's the matter? She knew me. Why'd she walk away?
She's snooting you, son. Of a son she never forgets. She holds you responsible for letting her leave you. You'll have to work hard to get her affection again. She'll have to forgive you.
Oh, gee, I'd do anything. Here, m'lady. Please, m'lady. Please come home, m'lady.
Oh, no, it's no use right now, son. Come on. I want to talk to you and your uncle. We'll see the dog again. She's just pouting.
You ready to trade now, Mr. Hargrove? $15 is my limit.
Mr. Tolliver, the dog's not for sale. But, Skeeter, I've got a proposition.
Go on, tell him, dear.
State your proposition.
Well, it's just this. I know how much you love that dog, Skeeter, and I'm prepared to offer jobs to both of you.
You mean we could live here?
Right.
And I could be with m'lady every day?
That's it, Skeeter.
Uncle Jess.
Mighty pretty country.
And the schools are good, too.
Fine hunting, and the work would be light.
Gee, Uncle Jess, couldn't we stay?
The winters up here are simply beautiful.
We hunt wolves and foxes.
Down home, we take 'em into the house and feed 'em by the stove.
What?
We don't hunt 'em, they hunt us.
You haven't asked me about the wages.
I ain't interested in wages. I'm going home.
What?
But what about Skeeter?
Oh, I'll go home, too. Uncle Jess, him and me sort of go together. I want my dog back, but there ain't no use being a baby about it.
Well, it seems to me, Mr. Tolliver, that you're being rather selfish about this thing, aren't you? Skeeter'll stay here if you do. He wants to be with the dog.
He's gonna be.
But I told you, the dog is not for sale.
I understood you to say that, but I am going to swap you out in her, Mr. Hargrove, and I got a swap you can't turn down.
Oh, I'm afraid you're mistaken, sir.
No, I ain't. Now, look here. You sunk a heap of money in my lady, or Miss Congo, as you call her. You aim to get a good price for her pup.
I certainly do.
And she can't have pups because she's down in the mouth and ain't fitting to be a mother. And you can't sell her.
What makes you so sure?
I read it in that book you gave me. This Bazanji is a one-man dog.
Yes?
Nobody's going to buy a one-man dog. And she wasn't pouting when she walked away from Skeeter a minute ago. She walked off when she saw you. She don't like you.
I see. What's your proposition, Mr. Tolliver?
Here's my deal. We'll take the dog back home because she ain't worth a hooray without Skeeter. When she gets toned up again, I'll let you know. You pick out a fitting mate for her and send him down. You get all the pups.
What?
That's my deal. Ain't no more to be said. I'll go pack my grab.
Well, I guess it's no use to you.
No, wait a minute. Now, I made you a fair offer.
I know they'd
Tolliver.
be mighty nice pups, Mr. Hargrove.
No, I refuse to be forced in. Oh, what's the use? You got me, Tolliver, and you know it. Go ahead, Skeeter. Call your dog.
Gee, thanks. Thanks, Mr. Tolliver, Mrs. Tolliver. Thanks, Uncle Jess.
Oh.
Here, m'lady. Come on, girl. We're going to go home, m'lady.
Oh, just look at her. Come around.
Mr. Tolliver, you're a pretty good swapper.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Nice old fella. Nice girl. We're going home, m'lady.
Well, Mr. Tolliver, is there anything else we can do for you?
You folks been rightly nice, but since you put it that way, I would sort of like to go over and visit with Mr. Henry Ford while I'm up here in Michigan.
Oh, good Lord.
If it ain't no bother.
I'm sure you can arrange anything, Mr. Tolliver.
I'm glad he got that dog. Kid will be glad to hear that.
And so that's how Skeeter got his dog back, fellas. It's James Street Saturday Evening Post story. Please come home, my lady. And that brings me around to a date with my typewriter. But I'll be around next week with another yarn for you, and see you then, fellas. So long, Bill. So long, Jack. So long, Henry.
This has been another visit to the Sportsman's Club for another of the favorite sports stories of Grantland Rice. Today's story was dramatized for radio by Gerald Holland. Our cast included Will Geer as Jess and George Ward as Skeeter, with Muriel Kirkland, Kermit Murdoch, Edgar Staley, Jack Bittner, and Bill Griffiths. Grantland Rice was with us in person. George Crook was at the organ, direction Garnet Garrison. Join us next week at this same time for another sports story especially selected for you by Grantland Rice. This is the National Broadcasting Company.